Hey, Raptor Freaks, Alexiot's here. It's Wednesday and the day after the first day of training camp in Victoria, British Columbia, and we're hearing stuff from the first practice day. It was funny because they talked about they had their first morning practice and it was already like 5 p.m. Here, but of course the time's different over there. They can have the morning practice and then after interview. By the time that all gets done, it is around 4 or 5 here. So very exciting first day of training camp. I have to say, listen, that yesterday when I was talking about how other teams came into their media day, we are really in a good advantage. It's kind of like if there's a starting line for a race, we've already got like way down the street. And there's a bunch of teams starting behind us because of all kinds of messed up problems. I cannot believe that Monty Williams has not reached out to DeAndre Ayton and try and fix this issue from the last playoff game of last year that they had. He is not, this is so stupid. And honestly, I can't believe like they have described Phoenix Suns media day as being like a funeral. Crazy. So Robert Sarver really is having a huge impact on the Suns this year. And they are gonna, I don't know what's going on with them between Jay Crowder and everything else. Now, so far, what we've heard from training camp has been really, really good for the Raptors. The fact that all 20 guys are healthy is a huge deal. Last year, we had so many different guys having kind of little nitpicky injuries and full on injuries like Pascal, Kem having corona. Chris Boucher got hurt a little bit in training camp. It's different stuff like that was going on around then. Well, we have all 20. You know what that means? That means you can play 4 teams of 5 and have a little mini tournament. They can do stuff like that. I think yesterday was really more conditioning and just running and getting up and down the court. In fact, listening to Nick Nurse's interview yesterday, in fact, I'm debating whether we should listen to it and react to it on the stream. If you guys think that's a good idea, I'll play it and react to it right now. The interview he had after practice yesterday. You could hear Rico yelling at them in the background. It's pretty awesome. You can hear Rico Hines yelling in the background during Nick Nurse's interview. I love that. I love that so much. And then the two interviews with players afterwards. And this is what they'll do this whole week. We're going to see different Raptors on different days. We saw the main guys at Media Day on Monday. Well, we're going to see a couple of different faces during the week. And we saw the two vets yesterday come in and interview Thad Young and Otto Porter. And I really love what both of them said. I mean, listen, Thaddeus knew when we were contacting him, Masai said, we're not just getting you for this little tidbit end of the season last year. We're going to get you for more than this. And he was right. I mean, he was a man of his word, and Thad and him were on the same page. So all this is really smart by Bobby and Masai because it oriented Thad Young to always wanting to come back here for this season. And not only that, it allowed him to go and recruit a friend of his, one of his best friends in the league, apparently, is what he said, Otto Porter Jr. And he said, you got to come through, man. You just got to come through and be on this team. So a big part of why Otto is here is Thaddeus Young. And that's badass. That is so awesome. Thank you, Thad Young, for bringing a very quality, awesome champion to our team from last year and stuff like that. And I was really excited. You can tell that he finds our franchise very professional, very well run, and all kinds of good stuff. G's here, Masai and Bobby playing chess. That's right. They're playing chess, and the rest of the league's playing checkers. That's what we've been saying. That's what we've been saying. All right. Do you guys want me to go ahead and react kind of like I did on Media Day to the interviews, like in real time, or just kind of go over it the other way? Because I got it right here. I can just go ahead and hit play. Whatever you guys think. Joseph Starks is saying Otto Porter's wife, who is from Toronto, might have something to say about that too. Yeah. I mean, that makes his life easier. Happy wife, happy life. She can be home, the in-laws, while he's on the road and stuff like that. That's smart. That's smart. And honestly, Toronto's a great city. What's not like about being on this team? Seriously. Oh my gosh. Kareem Thomas is here. Good to see Kareem. Just to let you know, guys, your tax money is going to great use. I'm working on the LRT Mississauga, sitting on my ass, but got the chance to tune in. You know what? Listen, if you're getting to listen to me while you're on the clock, maybe it is getting on good use. I don't know. Maybe I'll say something today that inspires you, Kareem, that makes you a better worker for them. I don't know. But anyway, I'm glad to hear that the LRT is getting built out there or whatever is going on out there. But all the best and be safe. And I appreciate your work listening on the job. Shanky saying, yes, yes. All right. Laugh out loud. All right. We'll do this real quick. Let's play it. Here's Nick Nurse yesterday. This goes along with what Scotty was saying on Sunday night. He can't wait. He couldn't wait to get back together with all the guys and get going. That he really was raring to go on Sunday night to get into media day and get this process started again, the NBA season. That I can see this. Like these guys have been primed up since August because of Rico Hines runs. And they're like, they just want to continue. It could be that they finished the Rico Hines runs and they were like, man, this was fun. I want to keep going. And so they've been like, for a month, they've been like, man, I can't wait for training camp to get back and run like this. It's got to be really fun to see for Nick Nurse to see how much they've changed in just 3 months since they were in the playoffs or whatever, 3, 4 months, and how much they've improved. Because that's the thing, all these guys have improved, and Nick will be able to see it real well. But I love how enthusiastic all these guys came into training camp, and right away they're working real hard, is what Nick's saying. They're working real hard, and it's been a real advantage having 13 guys from last year come back this year in training camp because you don't have to go over everything new. Like so many other teams have to start because they have so many new players coming in to teach everything, the basics. We're kind of coming in at like an advanced level. Like this is second year stuff. Well, meanwhile, they're doing like first year beginner stuff. We're doing second year stuff of teaching more on top of what we already learned last year. And I love that. That's a really good advantage for us this year. This is really very intriguing to me. I'm very curious. I want to see what he's talking about. Like he says, it's going to be noticeable what he's changing with the team play and stuff like what he's going to do. I really hope this has to do with offensive stuff mostly, like how they do in motion and what's going on and stuff like that. It's really cool. And he says that they've been implementing it all summer. So they may have been doing some of this stuff at Rico Hines. Obviously they were doing it summer league in Las Vegas and stuff like that to kind of get it set up and stuff. And it could be that he told these guys, all right, guys, we're going to do this. Really try and work on this in your personal workouts and also at Rico Hines when you're running up and down the court and stuff like that. Really, really good. Let me see what you guys are saying real quick. Paul B saying, any legitimacy to these Shea rumors? No, Paul, I'm going to say this right now. This is Jake Fisher shit. So it's somebody, all right, listen, who's on Twitter. He's a writer that writes about the NBA and Raptors and stuff. Has written an article this summer about SGA coming to Toronto, and now it's caught a little fire, and it's kind of silly. Somebody else did some other content about it, and there's a lot of this kind of stuff going around right now. Now, it may be true that he does want to play for us. That may be very well true, and it may be true that he is disgruntled. But this is so dumb. This is not the time of year for this kind of stuff, this kind of move to happen. He's hurt right now. Oklahoma State is not want to trade him. And there's a lot of things that have to happen for this to happen. Right now, this is just wishful thinking by a Toronto Raptor fan that wrote a fan fiction. Basically, is that's what it is. This is not a true report completely. I think that he is disgruntled and maybe a little unhappy there, but there's not any real weight in it for it to be realistic to happen anytime soon. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to get a couple of Raptors together that are pretty good and package it and send them over there right now? Where would we mess up the table we set for this season? There's no reason to get SGA all of a sudden, like right now. This is more something that may happen next summer or something that'll happen in the years to come than something right now. So the SGA talk right now is a little premature, is what I'll say. And Samson Folk himself said last night the SGA stuff right now is exactly the same as OG rumors from this summer. So take it with that kind of weight that he's saying this is the same kind of reporting as the OG reporting from Jake Fisher this summer. So there you go. Monique, good morning to you. Always good to see Superfan Monique. Good morning. Good morning, Slamma D or Glamma D. Good to see you. Always good to see you in Scotty's Twitch. And now it's good to see you with us here. G saying, I believe Shea will be a Raptor at some point in his career. Yeah, it's just a little premature. It very much could happen. He does really like playing for Coach Nick Nurse, and he did enjoy playing for Team Canada this summer. So Jason Stark saying, I know what Nick was alluding to. The change is going to be offensively. One is the pick and roll. Raptors were lowest in the league in that. That will change. Second is we will be more driving and kick offense. So get to the front of the rim and kick to open shoot. This will be more implemental to our offense, less of the weave up top that we did. Okay, so Joseph Starks, and he does say this, that he says that he wants them to get to the rim and get free throws. He wants them to try and get fouled more, so they're getting more free throws and do different things like that, more kick out and stuff like that. So Joseph Starks is exactly right from what I read from what he's going to say in this interview in just a second. That's awesome. Now, so less flex offense, maybe more pick and rolls, and a little bit more driving into the lane by Pascal and Scotty, and trying to get in there to draw the defense in and kick it out and stuff like that. G saying also Fred will play more off ball, maybe not every game, who knows? So they have Gary and Fred firepower, or Barnes, Pascal, and even OG apparently bring up the ball. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to say next. Actually, let's see. I love what he says here. See, this is funny because this is very much like my Sunday report talking about why the Rico Hines runs were not illegal in the NBA rules. Nick Nurse right there covering his ass, saying that we did not require them to go there, that they all went there because of leadership on our team, because people like Fred and Pascal said, we're going to Rico Hines runs, guys. You want to come? It's going to be fun. And they're all like, yeah, we want to come. It's fun hanging out with OG and Scotty. So they all showed up, and that was all on their own. And Nick's really giving credit to the leaders on this team that showed up and said, yeah, we'll be there. And then the rest of them just followed suit. And that's badass. Like they wanted that to happen. But as he says, they can't make it mandatory for them. That's breaking the rules if they do that, stuff like that. So, all right, let's see what else you guys are saying just in between here. This may be how I jump around. Nako's saying, I think Oklahoma City want their core to be Chet, Shea, Victor, who's supposed to go first next draft and supposed to be the next LeBron. But yeah, I mean, they do really want SGA in Oklahoma City. The fans there really want him. And in fact, they see all this stuff coming from up here, and they're probably just as annoyed as we are from this last summer with OG. Trust me. We got to let this happen the way it's supposed to. This cake is in the oven for a long time. and it's not ready to get out there. It needs to rise and be at the right time. This is not the right time. We're just starting a new training camp. This really smacks of Raptor fans that once again feel scarcity with us. They hear all the noise that we don't have enough, and they want more, and they just want a big move. And they're like Michael Grange. Why didn't you make any big moves this summer? Well, we did. You're just not paying attention. So let's let this edition of the Raptors come in here and do this. Because if we get SGA, it's going to throw a lot of things a little bit off. And we don't want to do that right now. We really are in a good place. And we don't want to mess that up right now. I think he'd be a great addition, but this isn't the time to throw him into the mix. It just really isn't. Not even this season. We need to let this whole season ride with these dudes. If they make a big deal in the middle of the season, then okay. They adjusted and had to. But I don't think they will. I think that we're going to ride with these guys this whole season. It's going to be very special. Let's see. Monique is saying lots to take away from the interview so far. What stood out to you guys? Well, Monique, I'm going to go through it and we'll talk about each part. I got a little bit of time today, so why not? David's saying that we are all on the same page and ready to win. We're healthy. We're on the same page. These are all for one and one for all, and they're ready to rock and roll, baby. Yeah. Joseph Starks is saying analytics on all the playoff teams show that the main style of offense in the playoffs drive and kick. If you all remember, that's how Sixers beat us. Hard and drive, and their shooters killed us. Yeah, that's a really good point. And you're right. And I felt like we didn't do that enough. We have some really good catch and shoot guys in Gary and Fred. And listen, the other guys can do it too. You got Otto Porter out there that can catch and shoot now. Scotty Barnes, if he's on the perimeter and he's out there and needs open, they need to catch him. They'll catch him and he'll shoot it. So I like this. I like this idea of going towards more of this in our offense. In fact, our offense was nothing last year. It's like we were just messing around. I didn't even feel like we had that much organization to it. We start organizing and get that more like what Joseph Starks is describing right here, more pick and rolls, more driving kicks. Look out. We're going to have a much more offensive, easier offense than last year because we struggled on offense last year at times. And it's amazing how well we did considering how we struggled on offense at times. It's really amazing, honestly. Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what it's a copycat league. They're going to copycat us and the positional stuff. We're going to copycat them on what they beat us with. That's just smart strategy. Monique saying, I told you Delano was it from the beginning, y'all. All right, yeah, we're going to get to this because Monique knows the answer to my question already. David saying, drastically changing the vibe of our team 1 week before preseason seems like something that would never cross the minds of our head office. Exactly. David is a voice of reason. And this is why I think this SGA stuff is stupid. Like, why are we talking about him right now? We should be talking about our training camp is really what we should be doing. Nako's saying not Raptors media day related, but Kawhi said he likes that the Clippers added more defensive wings. So that tells me we're heading in the right direction. Yeah, everybody's doing this. Like they're saying that Milwaukee on the down low right now really wants to get Jay Crowder because Giannis wants more versatile wings on his team around him. I'm telling you, they're following us. They think that our roster is weird right now, but they're all going to be building the same kind of roster in like 2 years from now. Trust me. So they can go ahead and say we're weird with our roster this year and stuff like that. They did it last year, but they're going to copy us on the down low more and more, even though they say we're weird. You know, G saying Norman only circled the Raptors game this year. This is going to be a big deal because Norman hasn't played back in our arena with the fans in the arena. And this will be very special. And we need to give Norman the proper welcome back to Toronto that he deserves as a champion Raptor, as a great Raptor, somebody from our history we love a lot. So, yeah, let's make this special. And same for Serge this year when he finally gets back for real in front of the crowd instead of like what happened on New Year's Eve this past season. We need to give him the love he deserves also. So let's see. Nako saying, also glad OG didn't entertain the rumors that much. Yeah, he woke up and he's like, what the hell is this? Oh, yeah, real quick. Let's say happy birthday to Juancho Hernan Gomez. He's 27 today. And also Kem Birch, 30 years old today, guys. That's something to look at and think about that. Kem is only 3 years older than Juancho. So think about that when you think about ages on this team. Kem just turned 30 and Juancho just turned 27. That's amazing. Kareem's saying our bench is so deep, we could literally sub five off and sub five on. This is so true. In fact, I've been playing in my head the last 24 hours. What are the teams of five that they would create? Like they can make four teams of five at training camp right now. And who is running with who on which team? And then I'm thinking about those teams. I'm like, that team's really good. And that's not even our starter team. That's not even our starter team and stuff like that. It's very and Nick talks about it. Let's keep going with him. He actually says something about this. See, he's all right. This is kind of for Grange and his bullshit narrative that we didn't make any moves. He's like, look, we got Otto Porter. He's proven. We got Wancho. That's him tipping his hat that, like, look, Wancho's on this team, guys. He's not getting cut. He's on this team. He's guaranteed money for this year, no matter what. He is on this team. He's not one of these people that are on the bubble that they're trying to figure out whether he's going to be on this team. Nick Nurse just basically said it right there and plainly in a way that he's expecting him to be on the roster for sure. That that's just part of the whole thing about bringing him on this team is that Guancho's on the team. He's not in danger of getting cut. I'm going to tell you that right now. Stuff like that. So let's see. Joseph's saying, did anyone catch Norm's run-in with Karen? Say, oh, at the gym this summer. Yeah, in Vegas. That was pretty bad situation, but I'm glad it got handled correctly. David S. is saying, is there any way we can hear what you're watching? It's kind of weird just looking at you stare at the screen. Oh, you can't hear it at all? Oh, I thought you could hear it because I have it turned up. Maybe it's just because of the way it is with the internal mic. Okay, you can't hear it. That's interesting. All right. Well, you know what? In that case, since you can't hear it, I'm glad you gave me that feedback and I won't do it anymore. I'm going to have to figure out, once again, this is the technical stuff with me, but not lining up. Well, I'll just talk about the interviews then. I thought that I would be able to, like, that you guys could hear it and stuff like that. So, okay. Well, all right. Basically, let's talk about what Nick Nurse said yesterday. He says he's really glad that all 20 are there. They're all healthy, that they got a really good practice in. He's really impressed with the energy that they're really working hard right away. Because sometimes when you get in training camp, there's a little bit of a slow start to it because guys haven't, but they're ready and they're already going. And that he really likes how they're fitting in right now, the new guys, Guancho and Otto Porter Jr. And then Nick starts to talk a lot about Delano Banton. And Monique talked about it already in the chat. Delano was the superstar of the first day of training camp. All the work he did in South America with Team Canada in that tournament recently has really, really accelerated his growth this summer as a player. That, like I was saying a couple weeks ago, him being the leader of that team down in Brazil that just played down there in America, it was a huge deal for making him get more and more of a leap as a player. And you add in, like, he really didn't take any time off this summer. Delano really kind of went full tilt the whole summer when you think about it, because he did summer league and he was very much a leader and a big part of what we did at summer league as far as playing. And then he went to America. He did Rico Hines runs pretty much the whole freaking time too. So this man has been working the whole time. Like Nick said, he's been keeping his regular schedule this whole time in his workouts and keeping everything on track, even though he's been doing all the extra stuff with like Team Canada and Summer League and stuff like that. So Delano is going to make this team, obviously. Also, so this is the thing. Nick Nurse is already tipping his hat on a couple of things that he feels about what this roster should look like. Delano and Juancho are in. And he didn't really mention any of the other guys that are on the bubble today. So, but I love that he's so happy, and I love that they're all there and they're healthy. This is really huge because so many other teams have different guys. Like Lonzo Ball can't even walk or jump right now, or something like that. That's what I'm hearing. Ball can. He said he will not be back until he can run or jump. The man can't run or jump right now. And the Bulls are really waiting for him to show back up and do something. That is a really weird, big question mark for their franchise right now. When is Lonzo going to be okay again? And I don't know if it's going to happen. So I don't know. Something's weird. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a microphone. I think you're right, David, Joseph Starks. I could get a microphone up the street from some friends of mine or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to improve. That's an improvement I'm going to make this year is get some sort of mic. Maybe I'll even have it in front of me so I'll look more pro and stuff like that too. So, yeah. Then they interview Thad Young. And Thad is basically talking about why he chose Toronto again. And like I said earlier, he knew all along. When we contacted him in this trade for Goran, we told him, we want you here longer than just the end of this year and expect to sign with us. And that was smart because he wants that kind of security and knowing what to expect coming up. And we told him straight up right as soon. He's like, look, this isn't going to be just the same. We're going to get you the summer too. So it was kind of prepping and ready for that. And look, because we did that, boom, turn around and get one of his best friends in the league, Otto Porter, joined to the team also. I really liked that they both were the two interviews and they both kept saying the same kind of things. Like, yeah, he called me, told me to come in. And like, that's like, yeah, I called him, told him to come in, stuff like that. It's just cool. And this is something that's important, that the networking and the friendships in the league can help you get guys on your team. This is very much true and stuff like that. So let's see. Nako's saying he probably doesn't have Scotty's ceiling, but Delano could be Scotty like. That is great to have from a development point of view. Yeah, he really is. And it's interesting because Thad's saying that like what he did for us last year was just scratching the surface. That like he was really just kind of trying to keep his head above the water, learning our system so quickly in such a crazy heady time of the season that, that was a stretch run and we were all pretty set. And he kind of seamlessly fit in at the time in little stints that he got at different times for us at times. And he was a huge factor in the playoffs in different ways for things that he was doing for us. If he's coming into this season and he knows he's feeling like, oh, this is from the start, that is a huge advantage because he can really once again, like Chris Boucher, orienting himself going into the season as a role player, energy rebounder. Well, Thad can orient himself exactly for what he's going to do also. And the thing we've got to understand about Thad Young and Otto Porter Jr. is they know that their role isn't as big as it would be in the past on other teams they've been on, that they really are bench guys. And there's going to be times where they do not play a lot of games, but they are ultimate pros. They will not complain. They will play when they're needed, and they will do the best they can in those situations. I think Otto's going to get regular run no matter what. But Thad is somebody that we may not see as much as you guys think. But who knows? I could be completely wrong also. It really is going to be up to Nick Nurse. But that's the thing. If Thaddeus doesn't play for 2 games, he's not going to raise the riot act. In fact, in some ways, he's kind of like a vet to be break in case of emergency in a box. It's like break it out and get Thad because we need things calmed down. And he may not always be so regular. I think Otto will be more regular than him and stuff like that. So Joseph's saying, with Delano not playing many minutes for us last year, in a way, he has basically been training for a full year and a half now. Ding, ding, microwave done, pop. Delano is ready. Is he talking about he's like a hot pocket or something like that? Rumor is Delano is Ben Simmons with a jump shot this year. This makes my mouth water. That's right. He must be a hot pocket if Joseph Stark's mouth's watering after smelling that cooking in the microwave. Well, I can kind of see what you're saying. I think that he did get some good burn and run on our team last year at times, and we did see things. He was better at the beginning of the season in some ways, and then he had a little bit of trouble near the end. But I think it was partly because he was really expending himself on the 905 level for us. Like he really was the man down there and stuff. He has had such a high usage year all around because there were so many days last year where he would play on the 905 and then he'd come and play on the Raptors that night. In fact, there was a couple stretches during the season last year where Delano played like 7 days in a row between 905 and the Raptors team and stuff like that. So I think you're right. I want to see how much it is. Now we got to temper our expectations, Joseph, that it may be not much more than what he did last year, but as long as he is progressing and stuff like that, I think that it's for him, it's really making less mistakes and just playing more solidly because he can play a little wild and out of control at times. And I feel like he's got his shot looking a lot better this summer. His shot has higher arc and it just looks way nicer. And he's also I think he's taking a little more seriously at the free throw line. And those are two things that are really important to Delano, particularly from what I see, is that he had to raise his arc up because he was shooting too straight at the basket. And that's horrible basketball fundamentals. You got to put some arc on it so it can come down and go through the basket and not towards the basket. He changed that this summer. Thank God. And then the thing at the free throw line is just him concentrating more, like taking a sec to breathe, take a second to get a rhythm, and then shoot the free throw instead of just getting up there and just pushing it up there because he missed a lot of free throws last year. Let's see. Kareem saying Delano is like George Gervin, pushing the ball up, and because of his size, he will generate easy layups when in doubt, kick it out. That this is something that a couple of our guys have, like him and Koloko in particular, the length to finish beyond the defender. That's the thing. That's one of his secrets. Like when he gets in the lane and he gets real close to the basket, he ends up finishing over guys just because all of a sudden he just spreads out an extra couple of inches because of his arm and his hand, and that he can finish over guys. And this is true. That's very George Gervin like and stuff like that. But Koloko's like that too. He has that length that'll go above and beyond. It's almost like a selfie stick. It's like, let me just extend my arm like plastic, man. And then all of a sudden you're past the defender. It's crazy. Let's see. Monique saying Tim McAuliffe had deep discussions on the expectations when Nick Nurse checked it out. I still didn't watch that. I don't literally like Tim and Sid. I can't stand Tim. I can't stand him. I cannot. It's hard for me to watch him. Let's just put it that way. Joseph Stark saying on Thaddy Daddy, Nick Nurse said he is going to be playing a different position for us this year and will be way more involved. Well, I could see him being like a utility guy in a lot of different ways. One of his roles last year that was really, really helpful was when we were having trouble not scoring, and all of a sudden we just needed somebody to steady things. Well, now we got two guys that can steady things. We got Thad and Otto, and they really can do something to bring a veteran presence when it seems like everything's just crumbling apart on our team. That times we had that last year. Like, just imagine instead of going to get Yuta and Svi, we're going to get these two guys instead, right from the start of the season. There won't be any of this period of time where we were trying out these dudes from our bench last year and getting dead minutes that just weren't filled with productivity. These guys are going to come in and give us productive minutes in any kind of way. In fact, Otto yesterday was talking about his defensive side of the game. Like, we can all talk about his 3-point side, stuff like that, but he's a really good defender also. And that he's going to really help with our positionless defensive scheme because he's smart and he's a vet. He's going to pick it up really fast. So these are the things that I really will look for in the first preseason games is how are our guys adapting to our positionless defensive switching that are new? How is Juancho going to do? How is Otto? How's Josh Jackson switching? And stuff like that. These are the things we're going to look at with the newest guys that just showed up and stuff like that. Randolph Phillips, good morning. Blessings to you, Randolph Phillips, and blessings to the rest of the Raptor Free Call and everybody out there. Naco Nacho saying, after Scotty, Koloko has the highest ceiling out of the young guy. Ooh, that's a hot take. I don't know. I think it's Precious still. But Koloko definitely is in the top 5, I think, at this point. Seriously. And this isn't even him playing an NBA game yet. I think Nako's not far from this, but I do think Precious is a little ahead of him on that escalator. Joseph Starks is saying, actually, I have the perfect archetype for Banton. He's a mix between Sean Livingston and Manu Ginobili. His wiggle when he drives might be the best on our team. Real talk. Well, I really love how quick up the court he is. Like he really gets defenses on their heels. And that is a really good trait to have. Sometimes I felt like we were lackadaisical getting the ball up the court, but not last year. In the history of the Raptors, sure, we take too much time getting the ball up the court. I'm like, why don't we put them more pressure on them by speeding it up on them? Well, that is exactly what Delano does when he handles the ball. He pushes the ball up the court. And the crazy thing is that he's aggressive too. Like sometimes guys will just push the ball up the court, but he's actually looking for that seam to try and bust through to the lane and get a lay in past his defender. And if he can just do a little side around or something like that, and then whoop, just kind of lay it up like that, he'll do it. So he's a real threat in that way in the full court in the transition game. That they have to pick him up if he's out there and he's coming out. Now he can be a little wild and turnover prone at times too. But I like that he's aggressive and he has this. That it is something different than other guys. Like Freddie doesn't really push it that way. Scotty will push it that way. I've seen Scotty, he'll get the ball and he'll really speed up and bring it up quick and stuff like that. I like those comparisons. Sean Livingston and Ginobili. He's definitely got the body frame, kind of like Livingston. And the Ginobili is the Euro step kind of stuff, the lane stuff that you're talking about. Yeah. Nako's saying, I think Coloco's height gives him a higher ceiling than Precious. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you on this, but that's a good point. I mean, this is the thing. Precious is, listen, I mean, I don't even know how, I don't even heard anything about Precious hardly at all in media day or in training camp. Have we seen pictures of him? That's what I'm wondering also and stuff like that. I know nothing's wrong or anything like that, but he's somebody we haven't seen a whole lot. We did see Kem and Malachi's pictures yesterday and stuff like that. But Precious, what's going on with him? I want to see his picture and what's going on with him because we didn't really see him at media day. Very interesting. Nako saying, okay, Tom saying, good day, y'all. What's up, Tom Duke? Tom Duke on the West Coast. Get ready for the open practice. Yeah, yeah. All right, Otto. Once again, Otto Porter, Thad Young's interviews, fantastic. Professionals, ultimate professionals. It is true. They were he was recruited by Thad, and it's just a really good situation, stuff like that. Duke Rocks is saying Chev called Banton a poor version of Scotty as a compliment, meaning he has a lot of upside. The knock of Banton is the turnovers. Nurse said Banton looked real good on day 2. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, if they're already practicing this morning and stuff like that, I know they did a late practice last night, and they're probably not going to talk about it or do any media because it's so late here during that time. But I really do like how quick they're getting the interviews up, and Paul Jones is doing a good job doing his reacting right away on Raptors Today and stuff like that. Let's see. Monique saying, Lex, I know we all had bad things to say about Malachi, but what do you think the pep talks are like between Otto Porter Jr. and Malachi? Well, I think a lot of this is pretty similar to a lot of the stuff that people like Fred have been probably saying to Malachi. These guys really do believe in him. Like this whole Twitch summer with Scotty, he is pumped up and treated Malachi just like he would treat Gary Trent. That these are his dudes, these are his shooters, and he believes in Malachi. I mean, we saw at the Toronto Pro-Am them playing together, Malachi and Scotty, and they were having a blast. And like Malachi did some crazy stuff in that Pro-Am game. He did it in a couple of places this summer. So I don't know how much they really have to talk to get his confidence up because his confidence is probably pretty high. And I don't know if Otto in particular has anything to say to Malachi, but I know Fred is very much in his ear and encouraging him and getting him being in a good place. I think Malachi's in a good place right now, and I think he's going to do well. It's just he's got to be put in situations where he can succeed. I think it's coming up. Oh, you meant day 1 of training camp, day 2, including media day. Okay, yeah, I was confused. I was like, today's day 2. Duke might be ahead. I don't know how. It's amazing and stuff like that. All right, just real quick, I want to talk about there's something on ESPN this morning about NBA training camp, most likely landing spots for some veteran free agents. And they actually talk about us in here. That's why I want to talk about it. It's always when they talk about us, I want to say what they're saying. They're talking about Jeremy Lamb. He's a guard. He's 30 years old. We know him because he's killed the Raptors with a big shot and beat us at the last second for the Hornets before. And they're saying that his best fit for this season coming up as a free agent would be on our team. ESPN trying to help us with our problems without having guards once again. They're saying that we have strengthened our front court depth with the signings of Otto Porter, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, while keeping Thad Young and Chris Boucher. Still, there is a void in bench scoring. The lone reserves are Malachi, Delano, and Jeff Dowd. Once again, they're saying we only have 4 guards. So we need to get Jeremy Lamb, is what Bobby Marks of ESPN is telling us this morning. Oh my gosh. Like, you guys you ignore us, and now you're putting us in articles that just aren't necessary. We don't need Jeremy Lamb. You guys think we need something. This is why Raptor fan reads this and they're like, oh, we need another guard because ESPN's telling us we need Jeremy Lamb. Just ignore that and just be like, ESPN, thanks for the help. You're finally paying attention to us, but why now? This is not something we should be included in. So I thought that was funny, and I just needed to note that and stuff like that. Let's see. Also, Blake Murphy has given us an update on the FIBA Women's World Cup in Australia, that Canada will be playing Puerto Rico, not Belgium, in the quarterfinals. And that's today or tomorrow. I believe it's Thursday. It's Thursday. And then in their bracket will be the U.S. The U.S. is going to be playing against France, I think. And then the winner of that will play our team. And then there's another level where Australia is on the other side. So who knows? We're gonna probably we'll have to beat Puerto Rico, and then we'll have to probably play U.S. in the next round, stuff like that. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Kareem saying, I just drifted off to space thinking how amazing our team makeup is. We got vets and Thad and Otto. We got team vets and leaders and Fred and Spicy and OG, and we got an amazing young core. Messiah and Webster playing chess when everybody's playing checkers. These guys, listen, other franchises are just trying to keep their heads above water in toxic sludge. There are all kinds of different weird problems in different franchises and stuff. And you're just seeing it. We're just seeing it. It's so crazy. G saying Precious has been on the Raptors IG videos. Okay, so we have seen some Precious highlights and stuff like that. It's just we like to see a little check-in from everybody. And I hadn't seen much Precious content this week at all yet. But G's confirmed with the sighting. That's enough for me. Duke Rocks is saying, I know what you mean. I saw a post saying we need Kemba. A lot of these media people don't get the raps. They like zero research. Some people, it's just like they want to be like experts and talk about it. And some people get a high off of feeling like, oh, I was right. And they picked up who I thought they should pick up. And they were like, and they don't pick up the person. They have like a personal investment in it. It's like, oh, I wasn't right. Oh, no. And then they get upset and stuff like, just stop, y'all. Y'all are not Bobby Webster. Y'all are not this person. Like, I've been having these conversations with different Raptors fans on Facebook and social media groups for the Raptors. And I'm just telling them, I'm like, listen, y'all are not smarter than Messiah and Bobby. You do not know what you're talking about when you're saying they need to do this and this team's going to be awful because they didn't make any big moves this summer. Come on, get out of here with that. You do not understand team building in the NBA and how it is important to get good chemistry. And when you have good chemistry, why would you trade guys away or bring in new guys to fuck it up? You want to keep that good thing going as long as you can. And we've got a good thing going from last season. Obviously, all these guys love playing for this team. They all showed up on their own time and on their own dime to Los Angeles to play at Rico Hines. This is good stuff. You don't want to bust it up. You don't want to mess it up. And that's why, some of these other fan nations may be trying to bust us up by saying, oh, you need to get Kemba Walker. Oh, you need to get Jeremy Lamb. You need to get SGA, because they want us to maybe mess up our formula. In fact, I'm more worried for Cleveland messing up their formula than getting better because they brought Donovan Mitchell in. You don't understand how it's like cooking. You change one ingredient in your recipe, it changes the way it tastes. And you don't know if it's going to taste good. If you already got something in the pot that's tasting real good, you're like, put some veteran stew in there. Some Otto Porter Jr. This is tasting so good. They don't know how good it's going to be tasting in Cleveland right now because they switched it up. They got Donovan Mitchell. This is a franchise player. They don't know if this is going to work right. So that's what I'm saying. Let's go with a safe, sure bet and go on the development of our young guys and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Tom Duke is like, yeah, we don't need Kemba. What is this, Kemba Walker? I understand he's got a lot to him, but he's another one of these players that on the down low is a loser. It's every single place he's gone to, his team hasn't done well. He's a high usage guy that does not score very well. Like his shooting percentage is pretty bad in some ways and stuff like that. He's not the kind of guy I like. He's a very similar to John Wall in a lot of ways. So Joseph Starks is saying the most important player on our team is Kem. We need to put this man on ice and wrap him up in foil, feed him nothing but meat. And when playoffs and Embiid show up, break seal, release. This is cool. I really, really love that Joseph Starks is showing respect for Kem Birch that a lot of Raptors Nation needs to. That in some ways he really is kind of a very important Raptor on our team. I won't say he's the most important, but he is an extremely important Raptor on this team. And real Raptor fans that are deep down knowledge know this, that this guy is so important to our team. And they're not so quick to throw him out like the baby with the bathwater. I don't know. We're going to need him. We're going to need him throughout the year. And Nick's talked about this a little bit in the last couple of days about guarding big men in the league. And Kem Birch is our best defense against big men in the league for right now. I mean, Precious is close. He's getting better. We saw it in the playoffs. But Koloko, everybody who thinks Koloko's just replaced Kem Birch already now, you're crazy and stupid. Stop saying we need to get rid of Kem Birch just because we drafted Koloko. I'm sick of hearing that in Raptor spaces right now. It's so asinine and stupid. It's like you don't understand what we can rely on Koloko for right now. We cannot rely on a lot from him yet. We have to see what he can do, and he'll prove it, and then we can go from there. But Kem is proven as far as what he will give us, as far as a low post defender, a screen setter, and just a solid all around rebounder, big man around down low and stuff like that. So let's see. Release the Kem. Yes. It's awesome. Nick Nurse is so pumped with his healthy 20 players. Yeah, Tom, dude, you get to see all 20 of the Raptors, hopefully, on Friday, healthy and out there running in that practice scrimmage. Shane Waters worried about, is Scotty going to play? Well, I think everybody, hopefully, they just go in the right tempo and not overexert themselves. Everybody stay healthy. That is important too. Like they got them healthy, keep them healthy. We don't want any stupid, weird stuff this week happening with them in practice or anything like that. So let's see. Monique saying, love the thumbnail. That belt, though, never gets old. Thank you, Triple H. Yeah, Triple H is in charge of WWE, and they give these belts to champions in all kinds of sports. So we're not unique for this. There's sports, there's baseball teams that have championship belts and stuff like that. The Warriors got championship belts this year. And I don't even know if they traveled with the WWE belt out to Vancouver. They probably did. This seems like this is something they've done the last couple of years in training camp where they give the belt to somebody who does it. But I don't know if they did this year. There's no pictures of anybody with a belt right now. But if they're going to give a belt to somebody from the first day of training camp, I'm thinking it's going to be Delano Banton, just from the way that Nick Nurse is saying. So the title of my stream today, the answer is Delano Banton. He is the champion of the first day of training camp because he's had such a nice run of really important basketball all summer that he has just kept running right on into training camp in the season. And that he is primed and going and is a young guy. He can handle this. Scotty is the same way this summer. He wanted to run, practice a lot and pushed himself all summer. And these guys are going to show the benefits of it because they didn't get lackadaisical in the summer. They really pushed themselves and stuff like that. So Delano, Wancho got good kudos for fitting in and doing good things in the first day and saying also the Otto Porter fit in and stuff like that. That's basically who Nick Nurse mentioned as far as the first day of training camp was those three guys, Delano, Wancho, and Otto. Those were the three he was the most impressed with from what I saw and stuff like that. Let's see. G saying, did you see what Markef Morris said about the KD drama? Yeah, this was hilarious. I'm glad you brought this up, G. I broke up with my wife a few times, yet we're still married. Yeah, this is so awkward. Like Steve Nash taking that question about, yeah, we had a talk and we figured it out. Listen, I've known Kevin for many, many years. We have a long relationship and stuff like that. Man, these guys are kidding themselves. Listen, we've seen the pattern with Brooklyn the last couple years. They can look good on paper. Everybody can be like, they're a super team. The NBA can say they're a real championship contender. And what happens is all the wheels fall off the car some point in the season. It could be that like this year is not going to be obviously Kyrie being 50% not there. He's going to be there. So it could be Ben Simmons, being aloof and just pissing Kevin off because he's just kind of like, are you really trying? Is that I really feel like this is going to be a crux of the conflict on the team this year is that Kevin at some point is going to question how dedicated Ben Simmons is to winning or playing hard or doing anything in this league. I'm serious. I watched that JJ Redick interview with him. I can understand he has some issues he's dealing with, and I'll respect that. But there's also what Nick Nurse says. He said, you got to be there. You got to show up and you can't be injured. And that's what we want. You can't win if you're going to do this or this. And the dude is very aloof. And like I said, he flops on people. I can tell he's a professional flopper. He makes plans with people. He wants to do things, and then he just doesn't come through. He's just that kind of dude. We all have that kind of person in our life that say they talk and sell you the sky, and then they just don't show up. Well, this is Ben Simmons to a T. And I think that that's going to really frustrate and piss off Kevin Durant before the end of the season. And that's where a lot of their problems are going to come from. But it'll be interesting. I know that the wheels will fall off and they're going to be a dumpster fire because once that happens and they start having problems during their season, they're going to turn on each other. They're going to turn on Steve Nash, and they're going to be it's just not rosy there. This is not the foundation you want built going into your season for the Nets. Kevin Durant really screwed that team up. And he did a lot of damage with his publicness this summer. And they don't even realize how much damage he really did. Because it's not just him with what he said about Nash and Marks. It's also the fans have not forgiven him. And they're kind of mad at him on the down low for doing what he did this summer. They know that these dudes don't want to be in Brooklyn. Both of them. Kyrie doesn't want to be there either. In fact, in his interview, you could tell he was very sad about being a Net still. You can tell they're both sad about being there. They don't want to be there. So anybody who thinks that Brooklyn's all rosy and nice going into it, you're fucking crazy. Because there's people just like in Phoenix that don't want to be there. And like somebody said, January is going to come around and DeAndre Ayton and Kevin Durant are going to be really like looking to get out of there where they're at right now. So yeah, media day for the Nets was a dumpster fire. Kareem Thomas has got it right there. Yeah. Nameless is saying, I'm in a lecture right now, and my proof just yelled at me to put my phone away. I told her I'm a Raptor freak and apologized. Nameless, you're hilarious. You're one of the funny ones, too. I saw some of the stuff you were saying in the Raptors Media Day chat on Monday, and you're funny, Nameless. But don't get in trouble in your class and stuff like that. Maybe you should see if she can put me on for the whole class. And the whole class is hilarious. Nameless, don't get in trouble. It's like, I know you're getting education in two ways. We're talking here and you're getting the education in the class and stuff like that. It's hilarious. Hey, Nameless, Dab, you're a real one. You're a real one. Please tell your instructor that I apologize very respectfully that you have such a Raptor freak in your class right now. That's awesome. All right, Duke Rocks is saying, one question was wondering, how are we going to use all these 6'9" guys? He said 10 to 13 deep will be amazing, and we'll need it all with injuries, etc. Well, it really is, Duke, that we're going to really transition to more positionless. That, they say we don't have enough guards, but they really do need to put Pascal and Scotty over there on the guard side of the rotation on paper. That, the minutes that go to guards are going to be eaten up by Fred, sure, but a lot of them are going to be eaten up by Scotty and Pascal. And that's going to open up all the minutes at the other positions, the wing positions, the 2, the 3, and the 4. And that is where all these other wing guys will get their time. That's how we're going to figure it all out. There's just going to be, like I said, a wing menu. That wing menu that I made up this summer is very much in effect. We got all the different wing flavors, and we can try different ones. They have different kind of tastes to them as far as, well, they're on the court, what they can offer and what they can do. And that's the fun thing, that Nick Nurse can kind of use this basic structure of the positionless defense and a way they play and just like plug in like Otto. Otto gives a certain look with what he does. Then you see Thad gives a different look. Chris Boucher gives a different look. Precious gives different kind of stuff. It's really going to be that Scotty and Pascal are going to be eating up some of the 1 minutes. It'll be like Fred and Scotty and Pascal and maybe a little Malachi and Delano. But that is who's going to eat up the minutes allocated for the point guard. And then that shifts everything. OG can play at the 2 with Gary, like alternating there a little bit. They'll start them all together, but then they'll stagger them. And, it could be OG's playing a lot more 2 than 4 this year. And then that's how we find minutes for Precious, Chris, Thad, Otto, Wancho, Christian, you know, Cam, stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. It's basically we have to shift some of the forwards over to guard. And we know which ones they are. It's Scotty and Pascal and OG at shooting guard. Let's see. Nameless risking his career. I respect the dedication. Yeah, don't do an M.A. Doka. Don't risk your career over me with this, silliness. What else is in the news that I wanted to talk about? Yeah, see, Thad said, here's a quote from Thad. He's one of my better friends in the league. He asked me questions and I said, come on through, sign the deal, and let's go. Talking about Otto Porter Jr. So awesome. Like, this is really cool. And this kind of shows where we're at with our franchise, that we have actually players that are recruiting for us on the down low. I don't know. I'm trying to remember when this has happened before in the past, like this directly and this well. Because, like, in a lot of ways, Otto Porter Jr., I didn't think was attainable with our MLE after the draft and stuff like that, where all these other different people were names on there. And I didn't even think about him because I thought Golden State was just going to re-sign him and try and keep him because of the championship core they had last year. Well, no, they went way above and beyond what I thought they were going to be able to do with that free agent signing for a shooter off the bench that would fit in our positionless scheme. He's a perfect fit for this because he checks all the boxes of what we needed. Another vet, good 3-point shooter, a very good defender. Boom, they're all right in a row right there. So it's like, it's really is such like I keep saying it this week. These guys fit like a glove on our team. Whether it's Otto, Christian, Rico Hines, let's see. Monique saying good chat between Matty D and Jonesy yesterday. Yeah, good to see Matt Devlin be on Raptors today. He's loose at the end. He's like, Jonesy at the end of it. Matt is fun. And I'm glad that he did it that way at the end, like where he showed he's still that little bit crazy Matt Devlin. Matt Devlin, if you ever watch the Raptors Freak, you know that you got a big fan in me, and just be off the chain this year. You and Jack, just be wild. If you have to be a little riffing, a little bit of improv while you're out there this year, do it, because you guys are doing great work. It's highly entertaining. And I love the fun-loving Matt Devlin that's just goofy and doesn't mind being a little bit of a fool. Because there's so many announcers around in different places that are so staunch and just kind of like very professional and like, oh, you gotta have a delivery. Like, but Matt Devlin's loose. He's like almost like he's like somebody you would want to go and like smoke a joint with at this point. He's so wild. Like, Matt Devlin, you're crazy, man. He's like, yeah, but I really love seeing him with Paul Jones. And like I said, Paul Jones, thank you for doing Raptors Today this week. Really good wrap-ups and good observations and things. You and Sherman Hamilton, always enjoy you guys. Tom Duke saying Scotty playing point guard will probably be a big reason he stays in Canada for his whole career. Yeah, let's talk about Scotty and what he said at Media Day about why he went to Florida State. He said, I went to Florida State because Leonard Hamilton was going to let me play point guard. And it may have been that he looked at other places like University of Miami, and they were like, no, you can't play point guard. You're a forward. We need your size down low and stuff like that. But Leonard Hamilton's always had studs, like big dudes on his team, and he's not afraid to play a big point guard. So that's really smart, and that really shows that kind of like what Scotty's priorities are as a player and where he wants to go in the future. And Nick Nurse is going to be like Coach Ham and say, yeah, you want to play point guard? Go ahead. Yeah. He's just get happier and happier. You want to play point guard? You want to play like Magic Johnson? Yeah, you go ahead. So that, I think you're right, Tom, that like the fact that we're allowing Scotty to do what he wants and he's having success, he's finding success with the rest of the guys as a team, that will keep him in Toronto. Is that he sees that, like, look, they're letting me do whatever I want. I'm in a badass city that treats me like a king. I have teammates that I all love, and we are a competitor and a real contender in this league. It's not like we're like stagnating, and I'm not getting value in my years in the league like Kevin Durant sitting around on a team that he doesn't want to be on. I'm somewhere that's going somewhere that's worthwhile. And he has to feel those kind of things. That's what makes players leave teams, is that they feel like this is just stagnating and they're not going anywhere. We're getting worse, maybe. That may be how SGA feels about Oklahoma City. He's like, I feel like we're stagnating. We're not getting anywhere. That's why I want to leave. Well, as long as we're successful and we continue to keep pushing and where we're getting in the playoffs year in, year out, Scotty will stay. So I think you're right, Tom. Letting him play point guard is a huge thing to keep him here because that is what he wants to do. And we want him to be happy. Duke's saying Nurse said OG might also get a run at point indirectly, meaning whoever gets the rebound is going to push the ball up the court. Yeah. OG, Thad, Precious, not Chris, not Chris. We did a little bit of Chris doing that last year and it didn't work. We don't want Chris doing that. But the other guys are all allowed to do this like Precious, OG, Gary, all of them. They can all bring the ball up the court real fast, and in some ways that's smart because when you do the traditional point guard role, you have to look for them, and that takes a little bit of time to find them and then give it off to them. Well, if you just grab the ball and you run and go, that makes your transition offense faster down the court and a little bit more, like I said before, like Delano putting the defense on their heels and making them backpedal is a really good trait to do with your offense. If you can get engaged into it that quickly, where you got the defense on kind of like going backwards, that is really good. And that's what we want. We're trying to do when we get the rebound and we let the guy who gets the rebound just go with it. Or if there's an outlet and they can get the outlet going like real quick. This is the way Scotty plays on 2K. Is that it's very much get the rebound and get right up the court. Like half the time they're doing Kyle Lowry football passes full court in those games, like him and Lloyd. They'll get the rebound, and then he's just throwing it all the way down the court to his brother, John, and he's shooting in the corner. So that is kind of mirroring the real philosophy of the Raptors. Get that ball down the court as quickly as possible. Whether it's you grabbing the rebound and just dribbling it right down the court yourself, or you get that rebound and you toss that ball to somebody who's open down the end of the court, like OG's got a baby on his back. And he's going to get baby food. He's going to dunk on the kid that's trying to guard him behind him. That looks like a sixth grader because their little guard's trying to guard OG in the post. We've seen this last year. You know what I'm talking about and stuff like that. So, yeah, OG's definitely one of the guys designated to be allowed to bring the ball up the court and stuff like that. This, Joseph Stark's saying, fun fact, the Raptors commentators were said to be last in the NBA in an article on ESPN. Twas after Matt Devlin's first year with us. I wonder where we are now. He's definitely improved so much. That's an old ranking. Listen, they can do that because Matt Devlin had not taken to our team yet and been totally accepted by all of our fans. And he hadn't had enough time to really feel like right. There was still remnants of Chuck Swirsky and just how much and how important and how badass he was as our play-by-play guy. That it was tough. Like I said, it took me a couple of years to warm up to him and say, like, I like him. Because in the beginning, I didn't. I was very upset that Chuck went to Chicago and that Matt Devlin was our guy all of a sudden. I was like, who's this guy? And I was like, I thought he was too American. He was very, very by the book in the beginning. And you're right, Joseph Starks. It would be interesting to see what this ranking would be at this point. I don't know. Would they give us points for Ron Jeremy incident last year? Maybe. That's really good entertainment. I don't understand why they wouldn't give us points for the Ron Jeremy thing. It's hilarious. Let's see. Monique's pulling for Josh Jackson. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pulling for him too. Like I said, I root for the underdogs in all kinds of situations, and he is definitely the underdog in our training camp situation right now. I really hope. I felt so sad when he said, I'm already dead. It sucks. All right. David saying, nah, I'm not sure. You don't think they're that good. Cool Cat, good to see you. What's up? What's up, Raptor Freak? Cool Cat, sneaking time in the office today. All right, we got people watching in the office. We got people watching in class. Nobody get in trouble. Duke Rocks is saying people are wondering how the Raptors are going to share the offense in reference to Scotty. Scotty is a pass-first point guard. Not the only stat that determines success is Scotty is hitting 3 times doubles. That would be awesome. I want Scotty to try and get triple doubles this season. Like, I really do think that like he is going to pass the people first. Like, in some ways, he's like Cam. He's so unselfish. Like, I want him in sometimes to like take over and just like really be the bully. Like, he does that in 2K sometimes, but he really is unselfish. He on the NBA court, he's going to try and look for the other guys, and that's smart in a way because he gets them all better and stuff like that. I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting to see how Scotty balances what he does on the offensive end. Is he going to pass or is he going to shoot himself? And there may be times where Raptor fans are calling out for him to be more aggressive himself personally instead of being so unselfish. Because at times we might want him to just take over the game like Kawhi did back in the day, because he might be able to be that kind of guy. that can absolutely take over the game at both ends of the court, whether it's defensive plays and then all of a sudden the other end, but also being so overpowering in the low post with his low post close shots or just making threes or doing Kawhi kind of shit. Now, I really do believe he can develop into this kind of superstar. He may not believe it himself right now. And partly it may be because he's coming into this so unselfishly and thinking from a point guard kind of mindset. But there may be times this season where we may see a flash of him being like, I'm the guy, I'm taking over, I'm going to be the dude that does stuff like Pascal does. And that is going to be very interesting to see because I want to see how far he can get with that and how successful he can be. Can he carry our team on his back offensively, being the man, the go-to guy, and stuff like that? Not that Pascal's not going to do this on the regular basis, but I want to see Scotty kind of rise up and take that role from him at times and say, you know what? I got this game, Pascal. I'm going to take over and be the man down the stretch, hit all these clutch shots, and be the dude and stuff like that. That's what I want to see. I really do. But I wonder how he's going to balance this between this point guard mentality coming in this season, being a distributor, but also I want to explore how much he can be a dominant player in this league as an offensive player too. So it'll be interesting. All right. We have had our waiver wire come open on the Raptor Freak Fantasy League. And I see that different people have already picked up a couple people. Tom Duke, I saw your comment about the trade with Monique and I want you to know that the reason why we did this trade is because Monique absolutely hates Draymond Green. That Draymond Green is somebody she did not want to have on her team. So I was just helping alleviate her of the burden of having Draymond Green on her team. And I wanted to give her somebody comparable. And I'm going to tell you right now, Caruso's not that far off from Draymond in some ways. And the reason why is because Draymond is old. He's starting to drop off. He's not the same Draymond he was like 2 years ago. He's really not done well offensively the last couple years. And Caruso, in a way, is kind of on his way up. In fact, he was hurt for a lot of last season, and his stats are going to look a lot better this year, especially if Lonzo's not back. If Lonzo's not back, Caruso's going to get a lot of minutes. So I know that it looks lopsided from what you said, because you can look and see there's a 100 ranked versus an 80 ranked. But in some ways, it's a fair trade. And also, I was helping her out with a problem that she didn't want. That's what part of it is, too. So, yeah, Adriana's here. It's Adriana's team also, I should say. She's not usually in here, but she is here right now. Good to see you, Adriana. I miss you. Tom Duke saying, wasn't too lopsided. And that's hilarious, Mo. Last year, I traded Draymond, and it killed me. You had Draymond last year? Tom, were you playing fantasy sports last year? I didn't even know that. Yeah, it was really to help out Monique. She came and looked at that roster when she joined co-managing with Adriana. And as soon as she saw Draymond Green's name on there, she's like, no, he's got to go right away. So we worked out a deal. She was going to drop him on the waiver wire. And I was like, you can't do that. Get some value for him at least. And that's why I sent them Caruso. Lolita saying the media day was very informative. It's so good to see them again. Rico Hines at A+. It's amazing to see how the Raptors work out. Yeah. This is so awesome. Like, man, I'm like watching Sacramento's media day, or no, their training camp, and they're like, if they miss a free throw, they have to run the court and stuff like. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're nowhere. There's teams that just aren't on the same level as us. The saying that says we're playing chess while they're playing checkers is so true. In development, in training camp, in like foundational, like just good chemistry and just good culture, they are playing checkers in other places. Obviously in Boston, they're playing checkers with culture, and we're playing chess with culture. This could be something I say a lot this year, that we're playing chess, they're playing checkers on all kinds of different subjects around the team and stuff like that. Adriana's saying, hey. David's saying, hey. But yeah, let's look at some of the pickups you guys had. I see that the trade went through for Greg and Kit Kalua with Luka Doncic for Tyler Hero and Jason Tatum. I say that's a tough trade. But of course, Greg was helping out Kalua because he really wanted Luka. So he's getting two good players in part. And he wanted a point guard back as far as that whole thing. And that's how that went down. But he had to drop Justin Champagnie. So Justin Champagnie is actually on the waiver wire now if anybody wants to pick him up. I see Cool Cat picked up Max Strus in the extra spot. That's a good pickup for the extra spot that she had. Chuma Okiki got picked up, dropped by Marquez Markel Fultz by Race Mode. Grant Williams got dropped by Tom's team to get Okoro. Malachi picked up on Gerald's team. He did not have a Raptor, so he went and picked up Malachi after Cowboy dropped him. I dropped O'Shea Brissett, and I got the young Canadian kid Joshua Primo, partly because San Antonio's point guard position is unclear right now. Trey Jones is slated to be playing the starter, but I have a very strong feeling about Joshua Primo. This is a way you can kind of look at things in the league. It's like, go look at the depth charts for teams and kind of see what the positional battle is and who you think might win it. Well, I'm very, very big on Primo stepping up and being the point guard, starting point guard for the Spurs at some point this season. And that's why I went and got him. Not to mention he's a Toronto kid. That's why I like him. So, and then THT got picked up by Duke Rocks and interesting stuff. But tomorrow we're going to do a think tank more in depth on fantasy basketball and the inner workings and strategies for how to win and just what to expect when we start playing on the 18th, how the stats are going to come in and different things like that. Any more questions? Because I know there's a lot of beginners in the league. Adriana, I hope you'll be there tomorrow for that. I'm not sure if you're busy or not at that time, but I'm going to be doing a course on how to play fantasy basketball, even more than when we did at the draft. The draft was kind of busy and hectic with the draft. This time it'll be more really answering questions and really talking about specific things with your teams or just general philosophies about how to win at fantasy basketball. So we'll do that tomorrow. Primo was on your watch list. Good pickup. Yeah, I just love the kid. Like the stuff that I saw from him last year as a rookie, he's similar to Delano in some ways, a very long, skinny kid that can do a lot. But yeah, we'll have to see what's happening in San Antonio. There's going to be some good fantasy gold in San Antonio, even though they're a crappy team. There's going to be guys getting a lot of points and rebounds and assists and stats that because they need them. Every team gets them, and even the garbage teams have to get them. So there's going to be guys that are valuable on that team that maybe people won't look at because they're such a shitty team and stuff like that. So, all right, let me just go and see if there's anything else I wanted to go over real quick on my tabs here that I've got. Really love Josh Lewenberg's coverage of training day, guys. If you're going to just follow one person during training day, he's the guy. He's going to put good quotes up and give you good information ahead of time about what's going on with no nonsense. Sometimes they're a little snarky, some of the twit heads, but he's the right one. And then, like I said, Team Canada women's team is playing Puerto Rico tomorrow in the quarterfinals of the FIBA World Cup. And they're in the bracket with USA. So if USA wins on their side, they're going to be playing them in the next round of that competition stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up today with our Whatever Wednesday, just talking about who is the champion at training camp on the first day. Delano Banton, apparently, that his summer working really hard at different places, doing different things, whether it was with Team Canada and Brazil. Rico Hines runs Summer League for the Raptors. Have really served him well with his development and growth this summer, and that Nick Nurse is very impressed, and that he is the one he's mentioning the most from this first day of training camp. So good news. Let's hear what happens today on the second day of training camp. We'll get more news and more interviews, and I'll have more reacting to that tomorrow also, along with the fantasy basketball workshop. So thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great Wednesday. And please like, comment, subscribe, share, and let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Raptors. Yeah, we're going to get it this season.